night to cook. Hello, I'm Greg Dorr, and this is the second show of our three-part series. I want to introduce my fellow cooks.
That was Greg Dorr.
I'm Greg Dorr, you're not. But we have Roger Gifford here, and a real good friend of mine too is Chuck Carpenter.
Uncle Chuck.
Otherwise known as Uncle Chuck. Tonight what we have for you is trying to do a simple meal, and it tastes very, very good. First of all, we're going to have Chuck's baby back ribs, a little barbecue sauce, and then Roger's going to make caprese.
My wife said it's caprese. We're not
Caprese?
sure. Yeah. Tomatoes and mozzarella.
Yeah, it's very good. Also, Chuck's going to throw together some pesto for us on toast with a little bit of garlic. We'll cook some chicken on the grill. It's been marinated. Salmon. That's going to put a little rub on it. We have a little sweet potato dish that we've made, and also asparagus. And then for dessert, we're going to make a really simple dessert, which is crepes with cooked bananas, with chocolate sauce, and Gifford's ice cream. I hope you enjoy the show. So we're going to start off first with
Introducing the
everybody.
guest.
The guest?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, to my right is my beautiful wife, Paula. Sitting right beside her is the awesome Peggy Gifford. Last but not least, my lovely sister, Davida Barr. And so, Chuck, tell us about baby back ribs.
These are the easiest ribs to make. And what we've done, we've already pre-cooked some. In this case, what I've done, I've left one rack out. Get some heavy-duty aluminum foil. It's big enough, long enough for a rack to fit on. Simply take brown sugar. This has been sitting out for a while, so it's not as soft as one would like. But basically, sprinkle it on and pack it on. And I use as much as I can.
Where can you buy ribs like that?
Hannaford's have them from time to time. Sam's Club, Joseph's Meats down in Waterville have them. Baby back ribs is really the way to go. It's they're much more the spare ribs.
Right.
Just basically folding up the foil. And we're going to put this in an oven at 250 degrees, and we're going to cook it for about 4 hours. It's a slow cook. And the secret of that is to cook it slowly. It gets really moist, it gets really tender, and the flavor is incredible. Once we've done that, we'll take the cooked ribs back out on the grill, give them some color by putting on the medium to high heat, putting on some barbecue sauce, whatever your favorite sauce is. I like one that's fairly sweet because of the brown sugar that's been cooking in with the ribs gives it a sweeter flavor. When these are done, the meat falls off the bone. Everybody seems to love them, and that's absolutely the easiest things to do in the world. And it's pretty much no fail. 4 hours, we can cook it 3.5, 5, 4.5, something like that. It doesn't make much difference. It's really just simply easy to do.
So if you cook them 4.5 hours, they don't dry out?
No. I mean, what happens? Really good point, Greg. When you get done cooking these, you open up the foil, you pour off all the liquids, the juices that were in there, and there's quite a bit. And then when you take them on the grill, you take it out of the foil, put them right on the grill with the barbecue sauce.
Usually when you put them in the oven, you use a cookie sheet or something underneath it?
Yeah, we do. It's simply because these will leak from time to time. Even though it's heavy-duty foil, the way I wrap things, if you've seen me wrap Christmas presents, you know that I'm not really good at that. So,
Unless you like to clean the oven. Right?
yeah, no.
No.
You don't want it because with the melting of the brown sugar, makes a heck of a mess with it.
Caramelizes, right?
Yes, it does.
So those go in the oven for 4 hours?
These do, yeah. We're just going to throw them back in here. We're not going to cook these for another 4 hours, so we'll take these outside, throw them on the grill, and put the barbecue sauce on.
Okay.
So we're going outside now.
Yeah, while you're doing that, I'm going to get this next step ready, right?
Okay.
Which is the crepes.
Sounds good.
I'm in.
You do cook crepes already? And you cook them already? The crepes? Wow.
Because they have to chill. They have to chill for an hour.
When I did my speech class, my how-to speech was how to make crepes. And that's what I did as a demonstration, and I got graded on, I got an A, but it was okay. My speech was on how to make crepes, the other guys was how to do in vitro fertilization.
Well, cameras are. Chuck showing you what the other is.
Oh, I'll cut this out. Sorry.
That was just, it wasn't last time.
No, you're doing great.
I thought you did fine.
Yeah, that was awesome.
No. This
That
is
was-
the
It doesn't
nerve.
show.
Because Mark was there, and
Kind of
Yeah,
had
the
things,
difference,
yeah, so
yeah.
we just play with it.
salt.
Yep.
Sure, I'll just draw, actually.
Okay, what we have here are the sweet potatoes. And I put these through, basically first I took about 3 live sweet potatoes, peeled them, put them through a food processor. If you don't have a food processor, just kind of chop them up in a kind of a thin consistency. These are, see, it kind of looks like they're kind of shredded. Also, with the 3 sweet potatoes, I used 2 medium onions and did the same thing, chopped those up, mixed them up together, put in a little bit of olive oil, just a little olive oil over it, a little bit of butter, just kind of a, maybe 2 tablespoons of butter, fresh ground pepper, a little bit of salt. And again, all we do is wrap it up into like a little packet, and we'll put that on the grill. We're going to use a different grill this time, but it's something pretty easy to do. Just throw on the grill of a medium heat. It takes about a half an hour or so to cook. You can pull the package open and look in, but they soften up pretty quickly. So it's really a simple thing to do. It has a lot of flavor. One thing I like about this is there's no cleanup. You know, this, you throw the foil away, just like the ribs, like half the stuff I do on the grill. I don't really like cleaning things, so.
Pretty simple. You can't see the onion really in there,
Yeah,
but there is onion.
Yeah, 2 medium onions, yeah.
And it doesn't matter what kind of an onion. I mean, do you like dahlia or yellow onion?
Either one's work good. I don't put red onions in there, but you probably could. I mean, and you can add other things too. If you want other veggies in there, but I think primarily just a couple of ingredients is about all you need. Just fresh ground pepper and salt and a little olive oil, butter, and away we go.
They're pretty simple though, because we just put the sweet potatoes, onions, olive oil, salt and pepper, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's a basic question.
No, I didn't.
Just wanted to review because I missed it, but I was thinking about something else.
Okay, so next thing, who's up next? You.
I'll do the crepes. Just because,
So Chuck, what's in those sweet potatoes?
what we want to do next is put together the crepes for dessert, because when you mix the batter, simply it has to chill for an hour before you can cook it. It can chill for 24 hours, it can chill for 42 or 48 hours, but really the minimum is an hour. And to make crepes, for those who are French descendants, you probably know, but for those who aren't, what you do is you take 3 eggs and you beat them. Put those in the pan, in the bowl, and then you add 2 tablespoons of butter. It's important to do it in this manner, because if you put the butter in, it won't affect the eggs like it's supposed to, and then so your crepes will come out real rubbery. It'll be hard to make them thin. It's important that they're thin and not rubbery, but thin and a little bit flaky. So the next thing you want to do is add the flour. There's 1 cup of flour. Simple. 3 eggs, 2 tablespoons of butter, 1 cup of flour. 3, 2, 1. You get it somewhat started. I got 2 cups of milk. Mix that in. And for those who, if you use butter, I usually use unsalted butter, just like we talked about before, because then you can adjust the amount of salt that you want. I have a small measuring spoon that does a pinch or you know, all different things, but just for you guys that don't have it, simply a pinch. I got pretty big fingers. I put 2 pinches of salt in there. It's just for flavor, that's all it is. And what it looks like, as you can see, it's really runny. It's very runny. And that's because that makes a real thin pancake for dessert. We're gonna make that, just like that. Stick it in the fridge and it's ready now. So, what are we gonna do next?
I think the next one, we're getting the chicken ready.
Bring the chicken out?
We're marinating it. You want to set that one? So it's in the crepes.
I can see this is gonna be a fun night.
Long night.
A long night. So Raj, what's in the chicken?
Chicken.
There we go.
Well, what we're doing is, we've got some chicken that we've already marinated, but we're gonna show you a little bit about how we do it. It's nothing tricky. We typically buy chicken breasts in bulk and then set them aside and freeze them or whatever. First thing we do is trim off any of the fat that we can see on there. We're just gonna cut that off.
Why is it so important to take the fat off?
Because you told me to. I think what you were explaining is that it helps the marinade soak in if you take it off.
Yeah, because usually the fat in the meat has its own flavor, and what'll happen is the fat on the chicken won't work with the marinade that we're using. So if you take all the fat off, the marinade has that opportunity to get into the meat.
Makes sense. So once we get that done and basically pretty well cleaned up, don't have to be too fussy. It's kind of personal preference, I guess. Once we get that done, then what we're going to do then is slice the breasts in half. And this is a real simple thing. It's just like filleting a fish. Basically, just set your palm, the heel of your hand on the chicken breast, and hopefully I don't cut my wrists. And there we go. And then we get two. The others came out better. But anyway, two halves. What we do is we throw them in the Ziploc.
Right in the marinade.
And we're going to add a little secret ingredient, a little more here. This is wishbone. Any kind of Italian dressing works great. You can use light dressing or you can use regular dressing, whatever you like. Just make sure you kind of cover basically the deal. And then you can let them set all day long. You can let them set for an hour or half hour, whatever you've got for time. So we're going to cook those on the grill a little bit later. So we'll set those in the refrigerator.
I don't know if you can see it. The other chicken has been in the marinade for quite some time now, and it actually looks like it's cooking because the meat is turning white. So it's actually it's getting ready to be cooked. The longer you marinate the chicken, the less time you have to cook it. We're going to stick it back in the fridge, and then we're going to talk about something next.
I think the next thing is caprese, I think.
The tomatoes.
Tomatoes. I'll show you that one. One thing you got to be careful of with chicken and any poultry products is making sure that you have your cutting boards, knives, countertops, anything that anything comes in contact with the chicken, is that you clean it before you use it. Set that one aside. We've got another cutting board here ready to go.
And we'll review that again too, because the utensils you use to cook the chicken with aren't the same utensils you use to take the chicken off the grill, because you want to keep those separate. Wash your hands again.
Wash your hands a
Get a
little
little
bit.
squirt of there. Soap.
Well, that's pretty slick.
You got everything.
Greg's brand new kitchen. Greg and Paul's brand new kitchen here. It's awesome. This is nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. We've got a few over here that we've already started. I'll just show you those. And then we'll do one to show you how the rest of it goes.
You just sit right there and look at it.
Okay. What we basically do is we've lately been using the tomatoes from Madison, and they're incredible. I mean, I'm not even a huge tomato fan, and I love tomatoes now. What we do is I've already rinsed the tomato off, and then we're just going to basically just slice them into slices. Well, maybe what's that? Third of an inch, half inch, something like that.
3/8.
3/8, quarter, yeah.
3/8, yeah.
Get your tape out. So we're just going to make slices of tomatoes, and
Well, if we don't do it quite right, you might even have a 3/8 of a finger there.
yeah, that's a good thing with tomatoes. It doesn't show the blood.
Really.
So once we've got the tomatoes sliced, then we're gonna lay them out on the platter. Again, don't have to be too fancy. Then we're gonna use Greg's secret ingredient. What we normally would do, actually, is a little salt and pepper, which you just sprinkle those with a little bit of salt and pepper. And then this is Greg's secret ingredient. We use any kind of mozzarella. We've used shredded mozzarella, we've used mozzarella balls. Greg, in his infinite wisdom today when he was shopping, he found buffalo mozzarella. And I thought, well, it's just a name brand. This is made from milk with buffaloes, water buffaloes. So this is going to be unique. I'm eating the ones that are made from the other mozzarella. So anyway, this comes in a ball, and it's mozzarella is pretty bland cheese. Comes in a ball. We just sliced it up. We're going to place a thin slice on each piece here.
You'll find mozzarella at Hannaford's, right, over by the
Yep.
vegetables.
Yep, kind of in that section where they have the specialty cheeses, I think is where you usually see it.
Yeah.
Once you get a little cheese set on there, then we're going to take and sprinkle. This is just basil. What we did was bought a bag of basil, we rinsed it off, dried it on a paper towel. Then after that point, we chopped it up fairly fine. You can see it's kind of, it's not.
Yeah, it's fresh basil.
Yeah, that's the key. Yeah, fresh basil makes all the difference. So just sprinkle a little bit of that on each one. You don't have to be, again, be fussy, just whatever works good.
It's all just a presentation, right?
Yep. And the basil flavor is just, that's the key to it. Then from that standpoint, or from that point on, I'm going to bring this over here just so I don't make too much of a mess. We're going to drizzle a little bit of balsamic vinegar on. Balsamic vinegar is, it's just a little bit of a different tasting vinegar versus regular apple cider vinegar. And it just takes a very little bit. I mean, it's just it's less than, what's that, quarter of a teaspoon maybe, kind of thing, through each one. Really, it's just a
So just sprinkle it on.
just sprinkle it.
It does carry a lot of flavor, doesn't it?
Yep. Something like that. And then we're going to add a little bit of olive oil. And again, just drizzle the olive oil.
We
Really,
just put olive oil on everything? Or?
cook it with everything. Garlic and olive oil goes on everything.
You gotta have it in your kitchen all the time.
We just got to figure out how to put it on the crepes. And be all set. There we go. And the other thing that I like to do, and this is just a little bit of a trick, is I'm going to get some Italian spices, which we have over here or here. Oh,
Right there.
Italian seasoning. This is it just gives it a little bit of a, I mean, this is really, really light amount of that. Just kind of sprinkle on that. Okay, that's basically it. You can, if you want to spice it up a little bit more, salt and pepper, you can do that. That's kind of the presentation.
This looks kind of cool.
Yep. So we're gonna serve our our wives and friends some of this. Okay. From here over to here is the water buffalo. So over here is, we'll see that, guys. See what you think of that. So help yourselves. That's pretty much that recipe.
I think you had that backwards about the water buffalo. I think it was the other way around.
Well, we may be onto something. This may be the new trick.
Well, milk's milk, isn't it? And
It is. It is. That's what they say.
here's one to take on the plate with.
Okay, next we're going to do actually some bread. We've taken a loaf of Italian bread, sliced it to about maybe 1/2 inch thick. And right here, put it on a cookie sheet, a cooking sheet.
Just like a loaf of Italian bread, or
Yeah,
French
just
bread, or
Italian
either-
bread, yeah.
The little round thin loaves, right?
Yep. Cut it up, put it in here. We're going to put it in on broil for just a few minutes. And you really need to stay right there and watch it.
Yes, you do.
Because otherwise, you end up with burnt toast.
We did this the other night and I burnt the toast. It doesn't take long.
Is that on boil already?
Yep, it's all set.
So what we're going to do too, once that comes out, I'm going to take a fresh clove of garlic and rub it over the toast, and gives a little extra flavor. What I'm going to do while he's doing that is make some fresh pesto. And pesto is basically basil, which I need to grab. Grab a large bag of this at Hannaford's today. It it comes in kind of stemmed form. Wash it. So nice and dry. This is maybe a couple of cups worth of basil.
Isn't that about half the bag? Is that?
That probably was about half the bag. I mean, you can make any amounts that you want, but and I've always made this kind of on my own. But this, we have sort of a recipe here. So I'm going to throw this in a food processor. Get that in there. One thing I like about this, again, I do have to wash this one piece, but that's about it. Everything kind of goes at once. And you can do this separately, but I choose to do it all at once. So we've got the fresh basil in here. We have 1 clove of garlic. You don't need to chop it up, you just throw it right in. Pine nuts, about 3 tablespoons of pine nuts. And these are, you can get those in the specialty foods section at Hannaford's. If you don't want to use pine nuts or can't find them, you can use walnuts. Put those in. This is probably 1/4 cup of cheese, and it's a Parmesan Reggiano cheese. It's got kind of a sharp flavor to it. I like it. You're supposed to grind this up first. I don't. A little pepper. That's enough. Just a pinch of pepper, pinch of salt. That's plenty. What we'll do is, if I can find the rest of this, grind this up, and then once we get it ground up, we will throw some olive oil in here. How's that toast doing? Toasted. When you don't grind up the Parmesan first, or shred that first, this may be a little chunky. Actually, that's the way I like it. So we've got kind of a dry mixture now here. I don't know if you can see that, it's kind of hard to see, but it's kind of just a green paste almost. Now what I'll do now is put this back on, get it going, and just drizzle some olive oil in it at the same time. And once you usually have enough, it's about 10 tablespoons, but you know you have enough when you can see the paste kind of moving, loosening up and moving. So we'll try this, see how this works. Let's try one more thing too. I'm just going to scrape this down off the sides too, make sure it gets all blended in. And then give it a couple more pulses.
Here's the taste for you. Perfect. I'm gonna put that on. Okay. Well, this is kind of a green paste, but it's really kind of cool. You can use it for an appetizer, putting it on bread, crackers. You also can throw it into some pasta, some fresh pasta. It's a great, kind of a good flavor for that. I've actually put some of this on some scallops that I've sauteed, and then just put a little dollop on each scallop at the end of the cooking of the scallops. It really gives it a great flavor. Do you make this ahead of time and put it in the refrigerator and keep it for like a week? Or
Usually just a few days.
Just a few days.
Yeah, typically it starts to turn kind of a dark green. You can, if you get it really into an airtight container and either put saran wrap or something over it, or a skim of olive oil, that helps keeping the air out of it, so it won't discolor.
How do I know when it's moldy?
Good question.
I don't know.
It turns blue.
Yeah, that's it.
I gotta taste it and see if I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
take it to the next day.
Yeah, I think so. So this is pretty simple to do. Again, it's just one, I did dirty one thing, it's not, I usually don't like to do that. I put it in the wrong
Might
container.
wanna tell them what you're doing there, Greg, with that toast too.
Take a clove of garlic and just rub it lightly on the toast a couple times. You don't want to do too much because garlic is very strong, but just a little bit goes a long ways. And
Makes the toast happy.
Yeah, it makes the toast happy, and it just gives that a little bit of a spicy taste to the pesto.
Good.
Does it?
Try that one, that looks good.
Yeah, go ahead, guys, I'll just keep going.
Yeah, keep going, keep
Yeah,
working.
yeah. If you get a good glass of red wine, you know, and
Wow, that's good.
actually, I like a Chianti with something like this. But I don't know what drinking this one is, I'm not sure exactly, but it's good.
Okay.
What are we gonna do next?
Okay.
Now that we have plenty of appetizers for the ladies,
How about some,
we've got the
probably start getting the salmon ready? You want to go?
chickens on.
No, chicken's not on yet. The chicken and salmon on all at the same
Put
time.
those on about the same time. I'll put this over here for the.
The other thing that's important about cooking is to figure out the time, how long each part of the meal is going to take, because it's too bad if your potatoes are done, your chicken isn't, or if your chicken's all done, then, but your potatoes aren't. So before we even started tonight, what we did is took the time to figure out how long each portion of the meal is going to take, so we know when to put everything on, at what time, so they all kind of come out together. And if you make a mistake, hopefully you have a warming drawer, so you can use your warming drawer to keep things warm while you're waiting.
I'm not sure this is gonna be perfect tonight.
Well, I'm sure.
We got a lot of things on the grill. This is just a Cajun rub. You can use Cajun spices from the supermarkets. This is a couple of salmon fillets we picked up at Hannaford's. You can use this. You can use some type of marinades if you want to. I don't really use the Italian marinade. I do like to use one that has it's equal parts of maple syrup, soy sauce, and olive oil, and marinate it for a half hour to 2 or 3 hours. And put that on the grill, and it gives a great flavor. And there's another one too that you can try with olive oil, some chives. I just can't remember what else. A couple other things, and that also gives it a good flavor too.
The thing about salmon, you really don't have to add butter or anything to it, right?
No.
Because it has plenty of oil itself.
Yes, it's got plenty of natural oil, the omega-3 oils, I guess it is, so it's
Yeah.
supposed to be really good for you.
So this is just kind of a spicy rub, like
Yeah.
if you couldn't get this one with like Paul Perdone's seafood rub.
See, that's actually, I like that.
Cut 'em up,
Yeah, I like that one. What I did before this too, when you pick up the salmon, it's nice to kind of run your hand over the salmon, looking for any small bones. You have some really small white bones in there. I didn't find any, and generally you don't find any at Hannaford's, but it's possible. Also, sometimes there'll be some scales on these. Now, the bottom side is basically skin. So we're cooking the skin side down on the foil. We're not putting anything like oil or butter underneath it. What will happen, and this salmon's actually fairly, not as fatty as some, so actually the fatty ones cook even better, I think. But we'll throw this on the grill, we'll get this really hot, and we'll cook it for probably 10 minutes or so, I guess, until the top part gets kind of firm. Then we'll flip it over into another sheet of aluminum foil. And the beauty of this is the skin sticks to the old foil, the first foil we had. So you just peel it off, throw it away, and it's just that simple. Cook this side, the face side down for a while, and then flip it back and put it on a platter. Then the side that's going to show has some really good color to it. So simple to do, real easy to do. I'll go throw that on the grill.
Do you want to serve the ribs first, or are you saving those for later?
Oh, we can, yeah, I actually have to show them.
We've got to show them the ribs
Yeah,
because you're
yeah.
taking them off the grill. So.
Yep. This is really what the ribs will look like when they're done. I mean, these really have some good flavor, good color to it. The bones, I mean, this is falling off the bones. I mean, I left 4 or 5 bones out on the grill out there. Now, typically what I do is kind of cut them up into singles, double-sided, double-sized portions. So these are. Let me find a little knife. Yeah. Just, I mean, they just can't, you don't have to really cut down too much over here, just how easy these things cut up.
Well, you could cut those with a fork.
Yeah, I mean, you just break them apart. I mean, you can see the look at this. I mean, typically this is the meat's coming right off the bone, so I'll demonstrate. Actually got some of the bone.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Awesome.
I'm not sure you're supposed to eat and explain things, but
You're supposed to talk
Guys,
about
we
Guys,
are.
I
We're to cook what the heck.
Yeah.
We're not pros, so.
Yeah, the best part of being the cook is you get to eat first.
Right.
Ladies?
Try that
I don't know where you're gonna put it.
Maybe that's something away.
Get this out of the way. We were talking about the salmon the other day and trying to figure out different types of salmon when you're at Hannaford's. They have the sockeye salmon, you get salmon fillets, you get salmon steaks. What we learned was that sockeye salmon's a wild salmon and it's been frozen. The salmon fillets are usually farm grown and they're grown anywhere in the Atlantic. So they could come from
Canada, US.
Canada, South America. But if you buy the steaks will typically come from anywhere, you know, within, say, like a 500-mile radius, simply because the steaks can't stay as fresh. And they don't freeze them. They'll ship them right here. So steaks will be the freshest salmon you can get. The fillets are farm grown, and your sockeyes are wild salmon, and typically they're frozen before they're brought to market. So I like them all. So
Yeah, no, me too, me too.
Yeah.
I would actually prefer the fillets because I don't like dealing with bones in the
Yeah, steaks always have the bones right there.
yeah.
Yeah.
They just cut right down through the fish.
Yeah.
So we need to throw that on, we need to
Throw
throw the chicken
chicken
on, yep. I'll go check on the potatoes, make sure we can burn those up, yeah.
Yep.
We need a grill brush too, probably for the grill, we clean out a little bit of that sticky barbecue sauce, so.
Right,
All
okay.
right, well, you're gonna,
I'll go do this.
okay,
Once we get this done, then we'll throw the asparagus.
we'll get the asparagus coming next, right?
Yeah.
Good, I think. Chicken and the salmon.
That out there, 50 degrees.
Oh my God, we've been eating tomatoes.
I'm eating tomatoes that like we've never eaten. Roger's true, he does not care for tomatoes. Well, with a meal, we'll slice one up, open it, tomato each, and eat it.
Or just set that right, set the salmon right on there with a tin foil on, kind of like that. So it doesn't hook right on. There we go. And we put
And
the
we'll cook the
chicken.
chicken on the other side.
Cooking the chicken breasts is the same as you do at home anytime. You just basically, you're just gonna throw them on the grill and keep a close eye on them. Because because we slice the breasts in half, they're a little thinner, so they're gonna cook a little faster. What we've been finding doing that is they go further. It looks like a, portion looks like a little bit
It does.
more chicken than
Yep.
just cooking a whole breast.
And again, it's very important that we don't use the same utensils after the meat's cooked as we did as putting it on, because chickens can have some pretty nasty germs on them. You know, not that I'm the kind of guy that goes out and works in a car and comes in and cooks, but it's
So you-
important.
You didn't just pull the motor on your 57 Chevy this afternoon?
No, the 454.
Oh, okay, well, that's all right then. Okay, we're gonna let that cook for a few minutes, and
Yep.
I'll keep an eye on that.
The grill's on medium heat, like you said. It's right, and for those people that have temperature gauges on their grill, it's right between 400, 350, 400 degrees. And it'll give you enough time, so everything comes out about the same. The salmon doesn't take long at all. And I don't even know if you can cook salmon too short of a time or too long a time, because some people like it fairly rare, some people like it well done. But either way, salmon's always good. The chicken's very important to cook.
Yeah.
through.
Chuck was mentioning to cook it till it's firm, and so it's not like some fish where, like tuna or something, where they cook it
Right.
rare or medium rare or whatever. Nowadays, salmon's basically always well done. Is that
Either way,
Yep.
yeah, you can cook salmon any way you want. Good, let's head inside.
okay? I'll keep an eye on this. Take it in. Go in.
Yep.
Whoa.
Olive oil.
Come in now. Okay, but we need to do,
Here's the ribs.
actually, we need to do the asparagus, marinate for the asparagus, and that's Roger's specialty.
Well, I'll go watch the chicken.
You wanna do the asparagus?
Right.
There's nothing tricky to it. What we've been doing is basically, just in the last few years, we started cooking asparagus on the grill. Whoops, that one's down. And what we've been doing is throwing them in a Ziploc bag, breaking the end off.
Yeah, cut the,
We've already done that, but
we've washed them and cut the back of the stem off the thicker part, because it gets kinda tough.
yeah, it's the woody kind of tough
Yeah.
part. So we usually just either break it or cut it off. We'll throw these all in there. These are good. You can use the real little, the little tiny, even the thinner ones than this, but they're a little bit harder to cook on the grill. They might be better when you're steaming them, but the bigger, little bit bigger ones seem to work better when you're marinating them and cooking them on the grill. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a little bit of garlic. We've chopped up a
Two cloves?
couple of cloves, yeah. So I'm just gonna dump that in. I've even used the garlic out of a jar, you know, like I'll put 2 tablespoons. It really doesn't matter how much. A lot of times we use lemon. Tonight we're going to use a little bit of lime juice. Just gives it a little, kind of a little bit of a kick. I'm going to squeeze a couple limes in there, one lime basically. So I've got a couple of halves. Use that. And we're going to add a little bit of olive oil and some Italian seasoning. And we can add some salt and pepper also. Italian seasoning here. Olive oil, it takes quite a bit because you want to coat it enough so that they don't stick to the, it gives you a little bit of liquid to marinate with, but also enough so that they don't stick to the grill. Just sprinkle some of that. Again, you can use pretty generous on most of this. I'd probably say maybe what, a couple tablespoons maybe is that?
Actually, that's probably 1 tablespoon.
1 tablespoon, okay. And then a little bit of salt and pepper.
Just kind of a pinch.
Yep, yep, so maybe a couple pinches of pepper. Oh, a lot of pepper, which.
1 pinch of salt.
Yep. Sounds good. Basically, we're gonna just cover it up and then, or zip it up and try to cover it up, move them around a little bit enough to get everything covered. And you can do this ahead of time, you can do it, 15 minutes before you put them on the grill, or you can do it 2 hours before you put them on the grill. Those are ready to
Put it on the grill.
Put it on the grill.
All right, look at that.
I think we're coming good here. Go back outside and check, see how Sammy's going.
You can do just a little song and dance for the grill.
Tell some jokes. Show will be over quick.
Yeah.
Ah,
You need to have to make the crepes yet?
I think we're gonna do the crepes last, right?
yeah,
after
once
we do
everything's prepared, then I'll show you how to cook a couple crepes.
There you go. One of your
Thanks,
eyes.
Raj.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
This is when things get a little quiet.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I get caught up, so you can open up a little wine break, huh?
Yeah,
Now, what kind of wine would you normally have for a meal like this? I mean, we have some fish and chicken, sometimes some white, sometimes red, what do you?
with the meal, I would probably have a white Chardonnay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we're just kind of hanging out, chit-chatting, waiting for it to cook. We have a little, this is a Merlot or a Cabernet. I think most of us pretty much like Cabernets.
Yep.
Not that we
My favorite.
don't like anything. I think a Cabernet. I just grabbed the Merlot just because that was on the top of the shelf here. But
We need another pair of tongs too, Greg.
We got
the
a
second pair out there on the left.
Or we can rinse up what.
That's right, I'll grab it.
So these are good.
These are great. They are so good.
Good job, Chuck. These are really good. Just good, yeah.
Just falls right off the bone, doesn't it?
Follow that up with a sip of wine.
Mhm.
And the pesto on bread is one of my favorites. It's a simple little hors d'oeuvre that everybody likes.
It didn't take long at all for you to make them.
And
No.
it's beautiful.
And we're eating and drinking.
Works for us.
I couldn't just start getting the, it hasn't been quite an hour, but it's been pretty close to an hour for the crepes to be ready. Crepes are just a pancake, it's just a real thin pancake. They're easy to make. 2 things, like I said, is the batter is very important. It's like last class we had, we talked about when you're baking how important the ingredients are. That you measure the ingredients and you put them in correctly. You don't just put them in any haphazard way. So remember, you put the eggs in, then the butter with the eggs, then the flour, then the milk. And if you mix that up, you'll notice a big difference. The one thing is the milk If you put the flour on top of the milk, it won't mix right. You get great big lumps. And if you don't put the butter in, then they, like I said before, the eggs come out, the crepes come out real rubbery, and they aren't very good at all. So,
You have to be careful though to not over mix it too, or,
no, I don't know that you can over mix it.
so you want it smooth when you're all done with it.
Yeah. And the pan, it's very important that the pan is hot. If the pan's not hot, then the crepe takes too long to cook and will stick to the pan. So
What do you use for oil or whatever in your pan you use?
typically use just butter.
Yeah.
You know, these are so they're not working real well. And so what we want to do is, I'm going to spray them with some pan just to be sure because I don't want them to stick.
Yeah.
It isn't any fun when the crepe sticks to the pan. No fun at all. At the same time, I'm doing that, I'm going to turn this on. You can put anything in crepes, anything at all. What I just did is I put 2 tablespoons of butter in there. You can put jelly, anything. I like cooked bananas. Cooked bananas are so sweet and it's just nice filler for the crepe. So take the banana off, cut it in half, and then just split that down the middle like that. Throw that in the butter, let it cook for a few minutes. And then what we'll do is we'll flip them over and then set them aside. But it's on bananas like that, just put them on low heat and just let them simmer. This isn't quite hot enough yet, but when it is, we'll throw some crepes on. And again, it's a real thin pancake base. What you can do too is it helps sometimes if you just grab a spoon that you like, you know, an idea of how much we're going to put in the dish is about a ladle full of mix. The other thing on the bananas, you keep an eye on those too, because what you don't want to do is burn them. Burnt bananas aren't any good at all. But they'll soften it up real pretty. Let's just see how this is doing here. So put a ladle full of sauce, and we'll put 2 in it. And just kind of spinning it around. What we're trying to do get it so it's a real thin pancake. I might even tell you the truth, I might put a little more milk in that just because it's a little thicker. I was saying before, it's important that it chills for that hour. It does affect the batter quite a bit. But you get it as thin as you possibly can. You let it cook on the one side. Find a plate. It's just like a pancake. When it gets all the holes in the top, you know that it's done. It's just a little thicker than I like, but it's fine. That's not coming up. Just going to heat that a little bit. Flip it over. About 2 seconds on that side. Take that like that. Take the bananas. Cook them on here. They're almost ready to flip over. The bananas, when they're ready, they get real soft. They'll change color. It doesn't hurt to brown them a little, does it? Just for the essence of time. Just soften them up like that. Flip that over. Check that little brown sugar. Just because I like brown sugar a lot. You just take a little brown sugar right on top of that while it's cooking. And just sprinkle a little bit of brown sugar on there. That'll loosen up. What we'll do then is you take just one of the bananas, you can see how it's kind of, it's deep yellow, that means it's cooked, it's soft. You take that and slide it in. Try it. Take a fork, roll that right up inside here, like that.
And lay it right between the sheets.
Lay it between the sheets.
Right.
And then what we'll do is, you can take chocolate sauce or whatever. You can put anything that you want on there, on top of the kite. But just because I'm trying to watch my weight, then Roger's going to heat up the sauce for us. You just take a kite, take a little bit of ice cream, put it on the side here.
What kind of ice cream would that be?
Skipper's ice cream. Only the best. Only the best for my girls. Set those off. Take that, and what we did is we put some chocolate sauce in the microwave for about 10-15 seconds. It'll take a whole lot of time.
Just about 15.
Try that. Yeah. Just scoop a little bit off the top. Just like that. Voila. You've got an excellent dessert. Some other different little things you can do. In the bananas, if you want, you can put a little splash of Grand Marnier. That gives it a nice little bite, nice little sweet bite to it. Like I said, what we do, I'll make up the crepes tonight. I'll make up, that batch will probably make about 30 of them. Cook them up tonight, put them in a baggie tomorrow morning, warm them up, and have for breakfast. I love them to maple syrup. Like I said, you can put jelly inside them. There's a ton of different ways to eat them. It's simple little pancakes that are very delicious and good for you. Eggs and milk, right?
Look at that.
So, I think that the rest of the meal is almost ready, right? We're coming out.
Start kicking off.
And when Chuck comes back in, we can set the place.
Flip it with it. Flip it with it as well. How do you know that it's done, Chuck? How can you tell when it's ready to
Yeah,
flip?
good question. At this point, it's kind of firm to the touch up on top here. You can see that. So it really is. It kind of looks done, but it really is. What we'll do though, and I cooked it maybe a little bit longer than I normally would.
So it turns almost white. Is that kind of what it looks like? Or
Well, yeah. I mean, you can see it starts to flake a little bit on you.
It
Yeah.
starts flaking a little bit.
Just taking this piece, flipping it onto another piece like this, and with any luck, we'll peel the skin right off with that. Crumple it up. It's all done. That doesn't look that appetizing, but it's cooked. And what we'll do when we get ready to serve that, we'll flip it over again, and it'll have some nice coloration to it. So again, I got to do this one more time here for this piece. A little crowded on the grill here, but we don't have that many things going at once. Again, just basically laying down another piece, turn this piece over on top, peeling back the skin comes right off. Just so slick, yeah.
How do you know when the chicken's done? What do you typically look for?
I
Do you go by feel?
I go by feel. Yeah, typically on the thicker stuff, I tend to cut into it. I know the real chefs don't do that. They time it more and they know how long it takes and all that. But I kind of feel it. If it's very firm, then it's pretty much done. We've been cutting in two, these slicing the chicken breast in half, so they cook a little bit quicker. This one looks like there's a little juice coming out, but it's a little pink, so I don't think that one's done yet. At least I don't want to eat it. So these definitely are done. They're nice and firm. Got some nice color to it. A little bit there. This one's done too. I'll leave this one off for a couple more minutes.
I'll throw these in the warmer and
Yeah.
wait for the rest of that. Huh?
Yep, and I'm just gonna run over, just check
See
the,
Pretty good.
Yeah, those
Looks
are-
like we ought to be able to eat it.
Yeah, it's good flavor. Love it. I'm gonna rub, check the other asparagus and bring in the potatoes. The platter goes right for the asparagus and the potatoes.
You do it underneath the sink, yep. Yep.
Have to do that while I'm on camera. Okay, we've got some asparagus we're gonna put on the grill here. And these things kind of roast. Some of these are well done. But even though they look dark, they look a little darker than normally because we put on the Italian spices or herbs. I typically don't. All I do is put on olive oil, salt and pepper, and put them on the grill. And just give them some color. You know, you don't want them soggy or soft. That's why I like to cook them on the grill versus steaming them. I'm not really into asparagus that have been steamed. They don't really appeal to me as much as these. You can see they're kind of a little charred almost. They kind of caramelize, and so they really give a great flavor. The grilling really brings out some good flavors for these. So these really should all be done. Some of the ones a little bit thicker might not be, but they'll be close enough. I look for some that are all about the same size. Otherwise, you're just kind of trying to pick and choose which one's going to be done before the others. Okay, this one dish right there. You can see that very well, but it darkens up. They really give great flavor. Shut this grill down, and then we'll load up the potatoes. These have just all really been cooked quite well. We'll throw them on there, bring them back inside, and we can put these back out on the platter. So here we go. The asparagus. Nice color. Some of them a little crispy on the ends. Some a little bit. The big ones a little tough to cook, but these are really gonna have some great flavor for us. And then we've got the potatoes. And I think we can just kind of dump these right onto here if we want to. They're not as pretty, but they've got some great flavor. I tested some outside. It was great. It might have been a little heavy on the pepper.
Really? You think that little black line down the middle or
Yeah,
something?
that might be. It might be a little spicy. This one's a little hot out there, but they were actually done a little while ago. Asparagus took a little bit longer to cook than we had anticipated. Okay.
But we made it, right?
Well, we made it, yeah. There's a little stir with something in it.
So we're ready to put these on the plates, and those are great. Oh, those came out good. Nice.
And the chicken is
Chicken is ready. We're
Did we
just
take that
waiting for
last
the
piece
salmon.
off?
Yep.
Yep.
It's all set.
Salmon's all set
Aside,
too,
yep.
bring it, okay.
So why don't we bring it in, we can look at it, we can show the whole meal.
Actually, I put the chicken on the plates already.
You did?
Beat you to it.
You the man.
I screwed up that plan.
So, these are the d'oeuvres that we made tonight. The tomatoes, pretty simple, right? Pesto, nothing but basil, olive oil, and garlic. And the ribs. The ribs were
Yeah. So
Ribs.
with brown sugar and
brown
a
sugar.
little bit of barbecue sauce.
And does it really matter what barbecue sauce?
I don't think so. I mean, I've actually made my own barbecue sauce at home, just playing around with it, and that works good. But these work just as good. Yeah.
So, I think what we've done here is what we've tried to accomplish is the fact that anybody can do it. We did it, number one. Number two is simple. It's a really, tonight took us just about a whole hour to cook 3 meals, 2 meals, right? I'll look at
Salmon's
salmon.
got some good color to it, and it's got some great flavor. It's a long piece of chicken that was out there, so I brought that in. It's So easy to do. And salmon in particular is pretty much foolproof. You can't really overcook it. Some people might say so, but I don't want fish soft or slimy, so I like mine fairly well cooked.
And you can tell, and this is a perfect example right here, see how it's falling apart? Right there? Pretty much tells you it's done.
Yeah.
See how it kind of flakes out?
But it retains some of the moisture because of the
Yeah.
oils in it.
If it wasn't cooked, you wouldn't be able to pull it apart like that. And if it's really cooked, like this is a thin piece, you can see that it's cooked all the way through. So this is like two perfect examples of salmon cooked at its best.
That looks good. Okay.
So,
Put it on a plate.
Let's eat.
Let's
put
eat.
it on a plate and eat.
Okay. Grab that one.
You gonna sit down with us, Gary, and eat? Awesome. What we'd like to do is thank Channel 11 for coming over tonight and my home, and I want to thank you guys for all your help with this dinner tonight. And more importantly, I want to thank the women, my wives, my wife, my sister, my very good friend Peggy, for coming and eating the food and not dying.
Not
But more importantly, this is what we wanted to do. This is why we put this thing together, was just to say that, gentlemen, guys out there, you can do this. This is a simple meal, it's a delicious meal, and try it sometime. Try it. And again, thanks again, Channel 11, for coming tonight, and we'll see you in a month. Good night.